Good morning from the much maligned Penn Station here in Midtown Manhattan. It's about 7:15 on Saturday morning, and I'm waiting for my train to Philadelphia. Just wanted to give a quick update about what's on today's agenda and what happened over the last day or so here in New York. We'll be primarily focusing on the World Meeting of Families when I arrive in Philadelphia at about 9:30 this morning, and it's a week-long gathering of families from across the world that coincides with Pope Francis's trip to the city and to the United States. So the primary objective for me today is to connect with some of the LGBT Catholics who have come to Philadelphia for the Pope's visit. There's a number of events that they're holding across the city today. So I plan on attending some of those and just talking with them about not only their issues within the Catholic Church, but their thoughts specifically on Pope Francis and some of the things that he said while here in the United States as well as in Cuba earlier this week. Quick note about yesterday, it was really interesting to hear him speak at the United Nations, specifically about issues of human rights and how that intertwines with environmental justice. Certainly, he didn't talk about LGBT rights specifically, and he even made some statements that some might construe as anti-LGBT. But I think for the most part, the folks with whom I've spoke have welcomed Francis's tone on these social justice issues. Again, not LGBT specific, but issues like the environment, issues like abolishing the death penalty, issues like welcoming immigrants to this country. And one quick anecdote that really highlights that, I think, is I was reading Twitter the other day when the Pope was speaking to Congress in Washington, and an Argentine activist who's been extremely critical of the Pope on his opposition to marriage rights for same-sex couples in his country and so forth was one of the first people to applaud the Pope for coming out against the death penalty. So I think that really highlights that the reaction to the Pope's visit is certainly not universal. Yes, he's been criticized for not speaking about LGBT rights issues or even highlighting things like traditional marriage and things of that sort. But I think, at the end of the day, it's a really diverse and interesting and convergent reactions to what he's been saying here in the United States and in Cuba as well. So with that said, I'll be heading to Philadelphia in about an hour. I'll be back in D.C. tomorrow night, and in the meantime, you can continue to log on to WashingtonBlade.com for further updates, and also follow me on Twitter at MKLavers81 and WashBlade as well.